Salutations to the nations. It's your boy Young Sinai.
Angel Knot.
Today we're going to be reacting to a video called Why I Stopped Collecting Retro Games. Okay, it is by Unnecessary Rambling. That is one of the dopest YouTube channel names I've ever heard in my life. Make sure you go subscribe to him. But I'm very interested in this because this kind of breaks my heart. You know what I mean? Because I love retro games. So let's see what he's talking about here. Okay.
I love retro games.
I do too.
Obviously, as you see behind me. But maybe not so obvious is the fact that I don't collect retro games anymore. Which, once again, I know looking behind me is like, what the fuck? Obviously, you collect retro games. You have a collection full of retro games. And I should say I no longer actively seek out retro games at all. Like the other day, I was in GameStop, and for whatever reason, there was a copy of Piano 3. It wasn't even like one of the retros, just my local GameStop. And I don't know if maybe they're bringing in smaller selection of retro titles here and there, but there was a copy of Piano 3 sitting there. It's $40. And I'm cool. I'll pick this thing up. But I no longer actively seek out retro games anymore. Like I'm never shopping on eBay for them. I don't really go to the retro.
If you got enough money to get retro games on eBay, you probably got enough money to buy grocery bags at Aldi. If you know, you know.
Local retro stores as much as I should. I should still pop in there just to support every
eBay's so expensive.
I want those stores to continue to exist. But yeah, I totally quit collecting retro games. This has probably been about 2 years or so where I'll buy maybe 2 retro games a year, 3 retro games a year, something like that for the last couple years. And those are really, like I talked about, just total spur of the moment, random things. It's like, oh, damn, that's not a bad price for that. I'll pick it up just in case I ever have interest in playing it. And it's, not available on modern platforms or whatever. But so, yeah, there's a number of reasons why I quit collecting retro games. Obviously, the one that I think has hit all of us at a certain point is the price tag. The prices just got so outrageous. And I'll even say that it's probably been,
Okay, we're looking at the 50 cent game from way back when. I'm like, why is he showing the I feel so crazy. I was like, why is he showing the clip of a movie? Like, I don't understand why this is relevant to what he's talking about, but he's showing us a retro game. Duh.
Say 2 years where it's been almost
those
nothing,
are pretty good. Those are pretty good graphics for back then. I thought I was watching the actual movie. Maybe I'm just tired.
Really about 4 or 5 years even where my retro game picking up has slowed down dramatically. I remember, close to a decade ago, I would go to my flea market, my local flea market, and on the weekends they would just be packed. There would be people selling top tier, high quality games.
The flea market used to be where it's at. Or was it?
$15, $20 max. And now those same games are
$60,
up in the $100+ price range.
Yeah,
and
hundreds. What am
I
I
know
thinking?
that some of that retro stuff, depending on the console, is starting to dip back down, which I love to see. But it just got kind of silly to me when it started getting to a point where I'm like, oh, this NCAA basketball game, college basketball 2010, a game that was mass produced in the millions and millions of copies, is now going for over $100. Like, obviously, that's some level of artificial inflation. There is no scarcity when it comes to college hoops.
It's so funny because I'm so old that I don't even realize that I'm old sometimes. Like, when I think of retro games, my mind automatically goes to Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, you couldn't picture this. Or I couldn't picture this. I messed up the Biggie lyric. But yeah, my brain just goes back then. I don't even think about like dog, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. That's considered retro, you know? Man, I'm old.
2010, or like those Activision published Spider-Man games for the 360. It just got to a point where I was like, "Yo, this is
It's
getting
wild,
crazy.
man. You
This is
gotta
getting
be
crazy."
if you want to get into retro video game collecting, especially like what I was talking about, like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, man, you gotta sell. Shoot, you gotta sell. You gotta just look around your house and just say, what's the most expensive thing in this room, so I can buy this copy of Street Fighter.
Where you could go into almost any shop and grab those Activision Spider-Man games or a copy of College Basketball 2010 and walk out the door for $4 or $5. I mean, I'm talking about your local establishments, like your actual stores. You could go in and pick those things up where they go through and they are pricing everything very specifically. Like those games were worth nothing, and then just out of nowhere, a ballooning price increase because of whatever number of different reasons. So, of course, I do not want to discount the level of importance and the just how much the pricing balloon factored into my decision to quit collecting retro games. But I think even more so than that, there was just like, and this is something that doesn't get talked about enough, but like I kind of just started feeling pretty satisfied with my collection. Like, sure, there's games.
That's awesome. You do not hear that often. People just finding contentment in what it is that they have. That's really dope. I was not expecting that to be one of the reasons. That's really awesome. Praise God.
Games that I see pop up all the time where it's like, oh, damn, I've never even heard of this random ass original Xbox racing game or whatever the case may be. Mad Dash. I see Mad Dash pop up. I'm like, whoa, okay. Didn't even know Mad Dash existed, and it kind of looks cool. So there's things like that
Even heard of that guy.
that you're going to see pop up. But I started getting to a point where I would go, okay, this game looks cool. I've never heard of it. Am I really going to play this? Because I got hundreds of games, well over 100 games.
And like he says, am I really going to play this? Like right now, I'm on a mission downloading ROMs or like, and I just want to have so many ROMs, like just for fear of missing out, not for myself necessarily, but for my kids, because like it's so hard to come by retro games, and so many retro ROM sites are getting shut down, and I don't want my kids to miss out on some of that stuff. But like for me personally, there's no way I'm gonna play all of the games that I have. Even my kids won't. Look at all of those games behind him. Look at all of those games. He is not going to have time in his lifetime to complete all of those games. And my dad, rest in peace, he had a very similar situation. Like when it came to movies, like my dad's movie collection rivaled what that guy has on his wall. What this gentleman has on his wall. Even more than that, like he had burned movies. Oh my gosh, when the DVD burner came out, my dad was bootlegging so many movies. It was ridiculous, and he never got a chance to watch all of those movies. And then the crazy part about it is, like in the latter years of his life, I asked him, like, you still collecting movies? He said no. He's like, now they got Netflix, they got Hulu. Like, there's no point in collecting all these, But I mean, there's still some value in, physical media, but it's just crazy. Like, in 2 lifetimes, you can complete some of this stuff.
In my collection right now that I haven't played yet. And so if I'm just continuously piling on top of that, like I know people collect for different reasons. I've never been someone who wanted to collect just to
Collect.
own it,
Yeah.
just to have the case. Like I want to
Yeah.
the things
Good
that
for
I
him.
collect,
I like
I
this
want to
guy.
have some knowledge of. I want to have some memories with that. I want to have some
Yeah.
at least mild passion for the game, whether it be good, bad, whatever. I just want to know, like, oh yeah, I remember that. There's that one dumbass level, the underwater level. That shit, I'll never go back
Man,
to that game.
this dude, yo, bro, you cussing a lot, man. You gonna get my video demonetized. You know what I'm saying?
Because of that one level. But it's like something's there. There's something between me and this game. We share a memory. And I know that sounds so damn stupid, but I just don't have any interest in owning games for the sake of owning games. And FOMO really comes into play with that as well.
Yo, that's what I just was talking about.
Where we know prices balloon left, right, and center. So we'll see a game for $65 and it's kind of on the up. It's trending upward in price. So we go ahead and grab it immediately. That way it doesn't get to $80. And then it just sits on your shelf forever. And it's like, I spent $200 on Silent Hill Shattered Memories? Are you fucking joking? Every time I look at that game on my shelf, I shake my head. Every single time I'm like, dude, you spent a stupid amount of money on a game that you still have not played. And on a game that, if I'm being totally honest, I don't have a ton of interest in playing Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's a fine game. I'm also sure at some point when Konami stops fucking doing whatever pachinko dumb shit they're doing, they'll put out a remastered package. Silent Hill Shattered Memories will be included on there, and the price of the game I bought will shoot down to like $40. And let me be very, very clear about this. I hope that happens. I hope that happens because I shouldn't have spent $200 on Silent Hill Shattered Memories. And I want people, I want the market to recorrect. That way people can go back out and have fun like I used to have. Whenever I was going to the flea market with my buddies and we could just pick up piles of games. If we dropped $100 bill, we were coming home with a box of games.
Yeah,
like genuinely too many to just carry in our hands. We would have bags of games if we dropped $100 bill. And that was so fun, going back to the crib, getting our consoles hooked up and just dabbling for a few minutes here with the damn Circus Maximus and Breakdown and just random games where we would just play them for a little bit. Fusion Frenzy, pop it in, check it out. And there was this mystery and also this obtainability that is not there today. Like you just can't, I know some people have their spots that they hit where they have this one specific pawn shop that does really good deals and this one specific flea market and this one specific thrift store or whatever. And that's dope. If you got that in your area and you have one that you can hit up and get good prices at, man, cherish that, because those people are becoming more and more privy to the fact that games are valuable.
Yep.
And these different shops are shooting up their prices to crazy. I mean, a lot of places will just have a base standard price, and that's kind of what you prefer. Unfortunately, back in the day, I was like, okay, well, $2, $3, that's our base standard price at the thrift shop. And now it's like, okay, well, it's $30 for all games. Okay, well, let me hope that there's an $80 game.
Everything get more expensive, not just games, but especially games.
Amongst your other games that you're charging $30 for that are actually worth like $7. But yeah, man, all the time I'll look around and I'll see something pop up and I'm like, you get that instinct where it's like, I want to buy that. I want to check that out. But really, when I look at my collection, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with what I have. The heavy hitters, I have the majority of the ones that I was like, just had to play. The games that I had to knock off the backlog. I thankfully, a lot of those are still on the cheaper side, like your Witcher 3s and your Uncharted games and not retro, but those style of titles that are mass produced. Thankfully, a lot of those are still on the fairly inexpensive side, so it's not too hard to grab like the ultra heavy hitters. But yeah, it's like I'm cool with my collection. I don't feel like I need to add much else to it, especially from a retro standpoint. Like, I love collecting for the PlayStation 5. I absolutely love it. I think there's something so fun and novel about the idea of collecting for the last system that will probably be totally DRM free. I think the base PS5 is going to be our last totally DRM free console, because even with the pros and the mid-gen slim PS5, they've added in those online startup bullshit where you have to connect to the internet just to get the console functional, and that's not in place with the base PS5. So the publishers and developers out there who prioritize making sure their game is complete.
Yo, if you want to check out the rest of his video, just make sure that you go hit him up. You know what I mean? I don't have a PS5, not yet, so he kind of lost me. You know what I mean? But I mean, I know what he's talking about, but I really wanted to hear about those retro games. I'm sure he goes on, but you know, you can go check out his video and see the rest, and make sure that you like and subscribe his video. You know what I'm saying? And to his channel. Seems like a pretty cool dude. All right, salutations to the nations. I'm out.
Angel Knot.